welcome back to part 2 with the Walton Guardians. Barbie, Joyce, and Cori are joining me once more to talk about what it was like on the set of the Waltons being a guardian for one of the Walton children.
We have to mention John Ritter because I miss him, of course, and he was just the sweetest guy. He did a play called A Day in the Life of Edwin Marcus. I think he created the play, and he invited all of us, some little theater, and it was hilarious. And then he used to have staring contests with the kids at the Magic Apple or any of the restaurants. He would come with us, and just, he'd win every time, of course, But
I remember a Magic Apple story about him. We were all there, and it was a table in the back, I remember, because there were a whole bunch of us. And all of a sudden, I'm feeling something by my feet. And he had slithered on the floor of the restaurant, came up under the table, and was tickling my feet. And that was him. Also, another time that he and Richard, I was sitting, you had the low chairs, and then you had the director chairs that were high. And I'm just sitting there doing nothing. One came on one side, one came up on the other side. They picked me up in the chair and carried me to the other side of the stage and dropped me down.
Okay, well, I had the same thing with John and Richard when I was sitting in Richard's director's chair doing the revisions for the script. And I'm putting in paper and I'm taking paper out and I'm all by myself behind the schoolhouse, maybe. And I hear noise behind me, so I know something's coming. And it's Richard on one side and John on the other. And they came up, and instead of picking up the chair and carting it off, they licked me. And both of them started at the base of my neck and like right up the side of my face, all the way up. And I was just like totally freaked out because it just gave me the willies. And I did that. But then I started laughing because I had just put perfume on. And they both got a mouthful of perfume. And they both ran by.
Every day on this set was like going to a party.
Yes, with John.
And then you went home and took the trash out, and then reality hit you, and then back again, the next day. I went, this is crazy. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Richard
I loved it all.
Played a lot more when he was with John. It seemed like, because John brought that out in him.
Mm-hmm. The other person that brought out the imp in Richard was Eddie Villa.
Yeah.
Those two were just together. I mean, I remember especially the kitchen scenes that were torturous for you guys probably and for everybody else on the. All of a sudden it would be, they'd go to shoot. Okay, quiet on the set. And you'd hear this voice, opera singer in the back corner. And that was Eddie. He would just start singing right after they said, okay, silent, quiet on the set. He'd start in. And it was amazing. And those two were.
Bill Flannery, we used to turn the light on in the prop room. And I could hear Eddie yelling, cut it out, Flannery. That was Bill Flannery. Cut it out, Flannery. But Richard and Eddie did a whole opera for us.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, they were cute together. They were really cute. I remember speaking of
hot sauce in the chili.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I thought Ralph was going to lose his mind. Yeah.
I remember, what was it? Franklin Canyon. Was that where you guys did some exteriors? Local?
Yes, local. Yeah.
And it was when we were
the mall.
Yeah. I was like, we got there before Richard got there, and they had the truck with the food and the lovely food.
The wasps were everywhere. Oof.
Yeah. The makeup artist at the time, it wasn't Bill. I forget who it was.
Bob Seidel?
That's who it was.
Bob Seidel.
And he went around, Richard hadn't arrived yet, and he went around and drew a mole on all of our cheeks. Everybody. The whole crew.
Eyebrow pencils taped.
Yeah.
I thought that was Ralph Sinensky that did that.
No, it was, he might have been, but I was Bob. And so that Richard shows up.
The interior kitchen set one time. So it might have been done more than once, because I remember
Richard comes in and he's like, and he couldn't stop
working for about 5 minutes before it dawned on him that everybody had a mole, including single one of the kids. Everybody. Yeah. It dawned on him.
When Richard first learned to drive in his white Volvo station wagon, they got a dog, a prop of a dog. and he put aviator glasses on him and a scarf, and they put him in the front seat of the car. So Richard went out there to get in his car. He says, somebody's in my car. So he came out with the dog, dragging it on the set, and says, my dog died. My dog died. It was great. It was insane. It was crazy.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Amazing we got any work done, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, they had to, because of you guys could only be there for 8 hours, and film for 5. So yeah, you got a lot done.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did. We worked at a pretty quick pace, but we managed to have a lot of fun along the way.
Oh, you guys did. I'll never forget seeing you the first time, Judy, with that long brown hair and flying through a scene and all that hair flying behind her. And I was like, who's that? That's the oldest daughter, Mary Ellen. It's really Judy. Oh, okay. Because I'm trying to connect all the dots, and which is the mom? Oh, Connie. Got it. Okay. So I was learning, but I just remembered the first visuals of all the kids. And my first visual of Richard was him walking through the room on the set. He was just walking. And I didn't see him in the face. I just saw him from behind. And I asked Joyce, who's that? And you said it's Richard Thomas. And I went, who's he? And he's John Boy. And I went, oh, I thought he was a dancer who's got a really nice butt.
Well, he was raised by dancers. His mom and dad were both ballet dancers, and I think teachers.
They came from New York, and they did The Black Swan, and his sister Bronwyn was the lead at the Wilshire Bell Theater.
And what was it? The thing, 32 or 36 Fouette turns. Okay. It's like the big thing.
They put on a whole ballet for everybody. Oh, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
And she didn't sweat.
She was an amazing little dancer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that, Cori? She didn't perspire.
No, I don't remember that, but it doesn't surprise me.
Well, it used to freak you and I out, because we'd be sitting there dying in the heat, and we'd look over and she'd be fully clothed from neck to foot in middle of the summer in Burbank. And she was perfectly fine. Not one drop of perspiration. We're just like, we hate her.
She got it all out of her on stage. She didn't have any more sweat in her.
That's probably what it was. But
we went to lunch one day, and it was Mary and Cammie and David, and somebody said, oh, those are the Walton kids. And this other lady said, oh, no, that's not them. They live in Virginia.
Lunches with you guys were interesting. I remember
everything that happened in those days. Gosh.
I just remember the lunches out, like IHOP or wherever.
Taco Bell.
And you weren't, fans didn't want to leave you guys alone and let you eat. And so there would be, everybody was nice. And then it would finally be, we took on the mom role, and it's just like, okay, guys, they only have so much time to eat, and then they got to go back to work. Like, can you go away? We didn't say that, but that was when we turned into guardian mode.
Yeah.
So do you remember when everybody on the set got the giggles around the dining room table?
Oh, yeah. That happened a lot.
All the time.
Now get out and walk the stage and come back in. And then Michael would get mad. Then she'd start laughing.
And when Mary would start laughing, she sat next to Michael. And Michael would grab Mary's leg and grip it so that they'd stop laughing. But, yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I did it. Go ahead.
The bad days of working for the food in the dining room scenes was breakfast, and it was pancakes. And finally broke for lunch. And the kids were just like, are you kidding? They were ready to die because they had so much in pancakes. And Taco Bell, Jack in the Box, Bob
IHOP.
Yeah. Then somebody, I think it was probably Cori, that said IHOP. And then they all just went, oh, God, no.
Should we say what we're all doing these days?
Yeah. Tell me about your life post Walton land, Walton's Mountain. We all have life beyond the mountain.
No.
What has yours been like?
I work for the San Francisco Giants baseball team.
Nice.
Brian and I work there, and he's an usher in the club level, and I'm in the club level, but I'm with the broadcasters. I'm in a little lobby where there's stairs and elevators and things. And I'm still guest services like Brian, but they treat us good. They pay us well. And when they're out of town, we can do what we want. This is my 9th season coming up, and love baseball. And the broadcasters, there's 4. They're all really pretty well known, and they're funny and nutty, and it's crazy, just like kind of like the
It's another world of entertainment, isn't it?
Yeah, I see Bob Costas and Alex Rodriguez walk through once in a while, and different people, and it's great. The commute's a pain, but it's a fun. And when we do the food bank, we give out food to needy people at a church. We're not members of the church, but at a church down the road, and we like to go to estate sales on the weekends and see all these different houses, what they're giving away or selling. And then we like to take a couple of trips a year. So Brian's from England, and he's got a brother in Wales. And so we've been there about every 5 years we go. But yeah, I'm never bored, never.
Good.
Do you ever do any other Guardian work after the Waltons for anyone else?
No.
It's hard to,
You can't top what we went through, right?
So what are you up to?
After the Waltons, I thought, okay, it's time to get a big girl job. So I put on my big girl pants, and I got a job at what was then known as On TV.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the first pay television thing. And from there, I migrated over to cable television. And I worked in that industry until like 2016. Worked my way up to a director position. And then when Time Warner was sold to Comcast or whoever bought whoever, my position transferred to North Carolina, and I didn't particularly want to move to North Carolina. No. So I took my little package and I left. Currently, I'm working at a company that actually, I'm in the entertainment and sports division. They do accounting and payroll for independent films. So, and I'm in that side of it, the residuals and benefits. So I kind of came full circle, and I'm kind of back on the back side of it. But yeah, that's what I'm kind of doing now. Cool. No, and I did not take another guardianship job, but I stayed with Mary until she turned 18. So I was there. I was the last one. And we all got to be on Richard's last show. I remember getting hair and makeup, wardrobe, and I was in a scene where they were all at a dance hall, and I remember that. And I was dancing with his stand-in, Richard's stand-in. That was my dance partner. Everybody was I think everybody in the crew was on that show somewhere.
Huh?
Oh, that's
cool. About Barbie.
Oh, nothing. I got a big girl job after I left the Waltons and worked at a bank, and then realized I could make more money in aerospace. So I went to Northrop Aircraft, and then God decided to give me cancer. And so because of my health and surviving that whole 3-year ordeal, I finally got out of LA. I needed to get a fresh start. So I came up to Seattle and got into property management. And that's what I've done for the last 40 years. And I no longer work in property management, but I've always, for the last 31 years, have maintained a job with the Fifth Avenue Theater in downtown Seattle, and it puts on live Broadway performances, musicals. And so talk about meeting famous people. We've had Haley Mills, we've had Greg Harrison, we've had just so many famous people on our stage doing these shows. Lorna Luft, I fell in love with her. Just amazing people doing shows. Unfortunately, with the pandemic and what it did to actors around the world, Judy attest and everybody else, we were shut down for 3 years, and we finally got in production, and we usually did 10 shows a year, and now we're at 6. So, it really cut us back on our income. So I'm currently living off the kindness of others. If people donate money, I'll take it. I'm my own telephone. But I also do merchandising for grocery stores. So I do a lot of physical labor, but then I had to put all that on hold because I got cancer again. and I'm in my second year of recovery from all the chemo and radiation. And I'm still having issues from the chemo because this particular chemo rots your teeth.
Nice.
So, yeah, so I got to deal in the last 6 weeks with a double abscess, a tooth extraction, 2 crowns. It's just constantly.
I remember when I found out you had the first bout of cancer, I was, I don't know if you remember the wardrobe person, Bonnie.
Oh, yeah.
We became friends, and she taught me how to break down a script and all this stuff. And she got me as a wardrobe assistant to help her out with the background people at a movie of the week when everybody did the movies of the week. Yeah. And we were downtown LA. We shot at night. And the building was on fire, and all these people were jumping out of the window. And I was on that set. It was fun. And I got a call. Somehow you got me on the phone. I don't know, but that's where I found out. I talked to you, and that's where I found out.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. I just remember you coming to the hospital and bringing me my gnome book.
What? I don't know that.
Probably a hardcover book. This great big book, beautiful book, all about gnomes. And I love that book. Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't remember that.
I'll never forget it. Yeah. So yeah, that was a blur. When you're told you're going to die and then you live, it's weird.
I bet.
It happened the first time 40 odd years ago, and now it's happened again just 2 years ago. Stage 4, you're going to die. Okay, but I'm still here.
You're a tough old broad.
Either that or I'm the Energizer Bunny in disguise.
Thank you for joining me once again for this second part of my chat with the Guardians from the Waltons. I'll be back with more behind the scenes of the Waltons and more Ask Judy. Thanks for watching.